I have multiple examples of that. I'll tell you just one of them. Having been in that same group for over 20 years, we had people come and go. The core 6 or 7 guys stayed, and then you would have guys that would come in for just a few months, test it out, and it's not for them. And then guys might stay a year or 2 or 3, and then ultimately they would leave. And this is the example, the guy that was in for, I don't know, he's probably in 3 or 4 years of that. And he had a company that refurbed office equipment, printers and things of that nature, and then they resold it. And then with that, he would made all of his money selling the toners and all the things that go along with equipment that he was selling. And all of us, of course, have all bought that stuff. All of us have bought and sold things generally. All of us know how to do this. This guy had been around a long time, but the business started to suffer, and it was really clear why the business was suffering. And so for months after month after month, we would tell him what he needed to do and how he needed to go about doing what it was he needed to do, helping him out step by step by step. You spend this much time with a guy over 3 or 4 years, you get to know him very well, and his issues were kind of self-inflicted, and we would point out to him, this is what you got to do, because this is the nature of these groups, like the Kronos group, where you get together and someone is just telling you, or some group of somebody, and that's the beautiful thing about something like the Kronos group, because you'll have 3, 4, 5, 6 guys all agreeing that's what you need to do. Sometimes you'll have one guy say, do this, and then I would jump in and go, well, that doesn't make any sense. Here's what I do. I think you should do that. And then 2 other guys over there go, yeah, I agree with him, not Jerry, because when we did that, we did it that way. So you get some sort of an idea rather than just group think that's telling you what it is that they think they need to do. But in this case, the group was like, dude, you need to do it. Well, 1 month he just didn't show up. Then second month he didn't show up. By that time, we're looking for him. And by the third time, his business was gone. This had gone on for, I don't know, a year. Of him just dragging his feet, are funny like that. Businesses can be like a car that's broken, right? Steve and I certainly have come from nothing, so we've all driven cars that you didn't know if it was going to even get there. And the reality was I had a Datsun B210 1972, which was the biggest hunk of garbage mankind has ever driven. I don't think that there's a second place. This car was so bad, exhaust would pour through the floorboards. The entire thing was rotted out. It had 550,000 miles on it. It had a 4-speed clutch in it. I was working at McDonald's. It had been stolen so many times that I started it with a popsicle stick. And I'm working at McDonald's. I come out of McDonald's, 12:30 on a Saturday night. Car's gone. Stolen again, man. And the door would fall off. It was on one hinge, so the door would fall off and fall on the ground. I had to catch it and be really careful. And then this is how pathetic I was back in the day. I didn't want to, this car, it had more holes in it. It was just brutal, 550,000 miles. I would hold the door open, because I was strong enough to hold the door up, like the door worked, so I didn't look like a fool when the door went down on and sat on the ground on one hinge. But 3 days later, I'm working, all right, and at this point, I'm getting a ride, and I come out, and the car is right in the same spot I had left it. So I go up to it, and there's a note in the car, and the note said, this car is such a piece of S that we felt bad for you, and we brought it back. So it was such a piece of garbage that the people who stole it couldn't sell it, is essentially what the note says, and as a joke, they brought the car back and left it where it was. Businesses, though, are like that car. That thing just kept going. It didn't matter that there was holes throughout the car. It didn't matter it was a 4-cylinder running on 3 cylinders. It didn't matter that it had an exhaust leak, not only at the not only off the collector at the bottom, and it would pour directly into the car, but I'm talking right in the engine, right where the exhaust would come out. It had a leak, so it's just popping and wheezing and making all kinds of noise. It bled oil like nobody's business. I don't know how it went. 550,000 miles, just kept going. Businesses are like that, or they can be like that. They don't just end suddenly. They lose a cylinder or two, and there's time to fix them many times. But the problem is the person driving doesn't recognize that there's a problem, just keeps driving until the head blows off. And that is what happened with this business. Is over the course of the year, he just didn't take advice, and he lost the business. So that is prevalent. That is one story out of many. And I'll even add that I'm guilty of not taking advice that I needed to hear, and the mistake cost me plenty. So it may not have cost me the business. It cost me a business that I went into that I never should have, that I thought, golden Midas touch, and I'll make it work because I've had all of this success, only to lose $400,000 or $500,000 chasing something that wasn't there. And had I listened to the people around me tell me that that's fool's gold, I would have saved all of that money. So not quite the same as the business ending, but just to get into a business. But businesses have a way of staying open well past their the point of no return. And if you're not willing to listen to advice by those of us who have been there and have seen that, then ultimately it's going to get you.